Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Maddles and this is another StarCraft 2 England cast. Now today I've got game 2 of it, best of 5. It is between TSLSymbol, the blue Zerg player in the top right position, and in the lower left we have AcerNerchio as the red Zerg. That means it's a ZvZ game 1 with swish. So basically if you haven't watched game 1, seriously, pause this video, open a new tab, go to my channel, which is obviously youtube.com/Maddles91, which is MADALS91. Check it out because it is sweet. It was a really good game actually. I really liked it, and actually showed a good balance of how upgrading affects games, how basically different upgrades can manipulate the effect of what goes on with different tech, and there was actually some cool strategy going on. And basically at this moment in time we do have Nerchio one game up, so obviously being a best of 5, always good to win the first game. If Nerchio wins this game, he'll be in a really great spot, but it'll be interesting to see how it all goes down. Now, obviously the map Cloud Kingdom, what does that really have in store? Well, basically this natural base, not too hard to take. I'd actually say slightly easier to take this natural than it is on Daybreak, just because that area is slightly smaller. You can also do some cool stuff with, you can double evo it off and then burst spine, and you can do some nice things there to prevent the Ling Bling play. And then your third base, well, this is a bit more interesting. I'd say the third base is actually harder to take than it was on Daybreak, purely because you've got two big paths in, and it's also still quite spread out. So because of that, it can be quite awkward to defend it. Zergling run bys could be a big thing. The fourth base specifically can be very difficult to take and hold, just because you're then so far away from everything else you're doing. It can be a bit awkward. So it'll be interesting to see how these two players deal with that. We've got Symbol, who is going for that hatch first build. That is compared to Nerchio, who went for a 14-14 build. Again, very, very nice. It's a 14 pull, 14 gas, and that's just very, very nice in getting out early speed, maybe some early tech, maybe some early Ling Bling play. There's a couple of things you can do, but generally it's all good. Now, let me just take a quick moment to say while we see what everyone else is doing. Oh, actually, hang on. This is notable. Symbol going for that gas before the pull. So, again, focusing very quickly on getting some gas up. May even go for banelings first, or perhaps just a really early speed again. Now, what I was going to say was, while we're waiting to see what these two players do any further from this, let me just say, if you like any of my casts, then please do give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe, because I get new top level games up every single day. Give a comment below just what you think of my casting, the game, the players, anything like that. Any games you want me to cast, that would be great as well. Do let me know. And actually, on the note of games you want me to cast, is that I'm actually looking for a co-caster at the moment. Not specifically for this, but I do lots of live events like I did Insomnia 46, the UK's biggest gaming festival, StarCraft 2 tournament. I'm doing various online tournaments and a couple more LAN events in the pipeline. So I need a co-caster who, if I ever need one, I can call upon. Basically, I've put a Reddit thread up for it, but essentially in a nutshell, if you've got great gaming knowledge and you are very, very dedicated casting, you've got good casting gear, and you've got a good internet connection to stream from, then by all means send me an email or send me a tweet. My Twitter's down here, and you have to be based in the UK though for live events, but let me know. Obviously that'd be great, and tell your friends. Now, we do have some Zerglings poking and prodding around here, and we may actually get a kill or two. Nerchio hasn't overcommitted to this. Both players getting speed at a similar time, and I mean, the only key difference really is Nerchio's hatchery is a lot later at his natural. I mean, as you can see, it's already down there for Symbol. That's going to help him tremendously. I mean, in terms of the work count, 18 to 16 in Nerchio's favour. So again, doing some good damage with those early Zerglings, as we saw him do in game 1. Hasn't killed quite as many, only one worker was killed, but forced an awful lot of Zerglings really from Symbol, and that is a lot of Zerglings. That's 8 out already. Nerchio having to get some more of his own just to make sure this natural base stays up. He needs to be defended. The defender's advantage in ZvZ is huge because of the way Zerg can flood units. Both players got their Baning Nest half done already. We've got speed about to finish up for both of these players now. But Symbol, he needs to be careful. He doesn't want to take too many losses from this Queen. Needs to do damage without taking basically too much losses, because if we look here, both players have lost 50 resources each, and this is exactly what don't want to happen. Speed finishing first for Nerchio, allowing him to get that complete surround, and that was just beautiful. Look at the difference in units lost right there. And now Nerchio, with the speed upgrade, is able to get very quickly over, building 10 more Zerglings. That'll take him up to a grand total of 19. And that is compared to Symbol, who's rapidly trying to get some more Zerglings out. But Banelings morphing in. They will get scouted, though. That is absolutely crucial. Those Banelings getting scouted mean that basically they should be able to stop. Cancels are going off. One Baneling, two Banelings finish, and now a lot of pressure on Symbol to defend this well. He's getting 2 Banelings of his own, now getting a lot more. Basically, 2 Banelings kill 2 Banelings. That is all that Symbol needs to do, is make sure that he at most loses 2 Banelings to the 2 of Nerchio. But we've got some Zerglings poking and prodding. This is now the Ling bling phase, Zergling Baneling phase of ZvZ, where it's very micro intensive. If we switch over to APM at the moment, you can see both players really going for it, and you'll see that actually peak any second. We've got one Zergling taking out Baneling, we've got a couple more, both players playing incredibly fast right now, and we've got great control. Now Symbol's in the problem now that he has got 2 Banelings, but doesn't manage to kill any Banelings himself, and this is very hard to tell how the trades are going. But for the moment, Nerchio losing a lot more, or not a lot, 200 resources. Behind this though, the worker count, 24 to 24, so bang on equal, but there's a lot of units streaming across the map now for Symbol, and Nerchio is going to have a tough time trying to defend this. He's morphing into the defensive Banelings, but he does not have many Zerglings. He only has 4. He's got a lot more in production, but he's got to think fast, and he's got to defend this absolutely perfectly, otherwise he could lose an awful lot. And already we're seeing a lot of damage being done. One Baneling hit goes off, a second Baneling hit nearly connecting, but for the moment, that is just keeping the distance the same in terms of lost units. But a lot of Banelings coming in, and Nerchio needs to be careful. Nearly lost an awful lot of Zerglings there, which would have been absolutely devastating for him. He's morphing in more units. 2 Banelings do kill drones. That's another important fact to remember. And we've got quite a lot of drones getting knocked out there, and that does mean Symbol is really starting to pull ahead in terms of the work count. Nerchio is getting his lair on the way, and I can hear something dying, but I'm not quite sure where it was. The lair also morphing in at the same time for Symbol. Tech-wise, they're both very equal. The 3rd and 4th gas coming out now. That's compared to just the 3rd and 4th gas starting now for Nerchio. So again, their timings on the gas, and therefore their tech is very similar. We do have 2 spine crawlers coming down here for Symbol. That's a good move. Those spine crawlers can be microed to pick off the Banelings as quickly as possible, preventing the Zerglings getting knocked out. And that is compared to, of course, Nerchio with no spine crawlers. Obviously, every time you force a spine crawler, not only is it 100 minerals, but it is also a drone, and that drone is absolutely essential. But Symbol is, well, Nerchio is actually now just caught up, so Nerchio droning very hard behind this. Symbol very concerned that he was going to get some pressure against him, so has built a very defensive position. The evolution chamber being used to try and complete the wall off, and a couple of Zerglings getting spotted here, but Nerchio does have more, so should engage quite cost effectively at the moment. But still, I'd say Nerchio losing a bit more than he has done previously. He needs to start thinking about being cost effective, especially because there was that period where he was behind in working out, but now the spine cord is really coming down. Be interested to see what happens. Nerchio getting that spire up, so is Symbol though. So this is going to be a mutual muta play, and the most important thing to know about this is the spine crawlers. And the reason for that is if your opponent wasn't going mutas and was instead going for mass roaches, the big problem you have is what if your opponent just comes to try and kill you? The only thing you can really do to defend against mass roaches, if you've got the mutalisks, is to get quite a few spine crawlers, because otherwise you just don't have the damage output from the mutalisks in order to kill the roaches in time. So that's something you've always got to think about. We've got Zergling run by gearing up to come in here, and there's actually quite a few Zerglings, and it'll be interesting to see whether Nerchio does defend it. He does have those Banelings there though, so again, keeping those defensive Banelings could be everything he needs. Sending just a couple of Zerglings in first though, and a Baneling goes off. We've got a counter run by from Nerchio here. He's forced to cancel at the 3rd. We do have some units moving back. Both players' spire is now finished. We've got 7 mutalisks on the way out for Symbol right now. Nerchio just starting straight away up with his infestation pit, and now getting 8 mutas. Obviously every mutalisk counts, it really does. Now we've got the 3rd base trying to be secure. No 3rd base attempt yet. Nerchio just coming down to try and start his 3rd base as I speak. That again is good timing. This 3rd base is going to be very important. It will also be interesting to see what both players do with their mutalisks. We do have the infestation pit for Nerchio though. That is going to be very important. But the +1 flyer attack comes out. Now the reason I say the infestation pit will be important ultimately is because if you do have infestors out, they can fungal growth a group of mutalisks which stack heavily anyway, and that means that you can deal a lot of damage, also pin them down so your own mutalisks and queens etc can engage. Now this is what you don't want to happen, is get small engagements. The Banelings getting focus fired down by the mutalisks there by Nerchio. Brilliant play. That will allow him to get many more Banelings and Zerglings on the field than his opponent. This mutual muta fight though will go in Symbol's favour, especially as the reinforcements come in. Nerchio not pulling back, perhaps overcommitting slightly. I don't think he did enough damage on the ground to counteract how many mutalisks he lost. And if we look at resources lost, we will see Nerchio is falling even further behind. The mutas, these Zerglings are basically cleaning up quite a few drones, and we do still have these mutalisks poking on. There's a lot of overlords out on the field for Symbol right now, and if Nerchio was more proactive with those mutalisks, perhaps he could supply block his opponent and actually start pulling ahead. Both players' supply is pretty low for this stage of the game, and that's essentially because the mid game of the Ling Bling carried on for a lot longer than you'd usually see it. Now, these mutalisks for Symbol are being a lot more active. They're picking off anything and everything, but now we see Nerchio supply blocking Symbol. That's going to be very annoying. Symbol does need to start thinking about what he's doing with Overlords, getting 4 at a time now. We've got more mutas coming out for both players. Currently, the muta count is exactly equal, and they're producing the same number, so that's all good. The armor upgrade coming out from Nerchio compared to the attack upgrade nearly finished up for Symbol for those mutalisks. Now, here we see Symbol actually being very aggressive, trying to get a couple more Overlords. Again, supply blocking Nerchio, but here we've got Nerchio coming in with a good flank on those mutalisks, and this is all just pretty crazy. A split there, I'm not sure that was a good idea, because that does split up your forces and mean that essentially anything that is caught loose could just flat out die, and now this small flock of mutas of only 5 of them could get pinned off, and basically they will die without killing any of Nerchio's units as long as Nerchio's control is good. So while splitting them might seem like a good option so some get away, as we're seeing here, it does potentially sacrifice quite a lot. We've got 11 Banelings morphing in here for Nerchio. He's also running these Zerglings up just to come and have a look at the third base, see what's going on. The work count, if we look here, Nerchio just 2 ahead right now, so very similar in terms of that. Resources lost for the first time. Nerchio actually engaging more cost effectively, but this is a big Zergling one by, and there's nothing in the way of defense other than 2 Banelings morphing in, and with that many Zerglings we could see a lot of drones die, and that is going to be a big problem for Nerchio, who is again going to start risking falling behind, but actually managing only to go 2 behind, so did not lose too many. In terms of the workers killed though, Symbol has killed an awful lot more than Nerchio has, but we've got a lot of Banelings coming in. That could be terrible times. Unfortunately for Nerchio, there's not that many drones there, so even if this does connect, may not do too much damage, and obviously with so many mutalisks there, a lot of these Banelings are going to get picked off, and so while it was a nice attempt, that did basically nothing and actually put Nerchio an awfully long way behind. However, Symbol is now coming across and is, well, running with an awful lot of Zerglings. 2 queens are there. Good use of bulletin queen between the hatchery and the extractor. That does, of course, mean that the Zerglings aren't able to surround. Additional Zerglings coming in, and again, neither player trying to utilize one-buys, but neither being effective with them. Of course, Nerchio's mutalisk board is slightly smaller, I believe, 21 to 25 now. So again, that does mean Symbol's in a good spot. He is going to get a queen. That is always nice. There is a spare one there, which is absolutely perfect. Now these mutas are engaging. Obviously, the bigger ball of mutalisks will always win the fight, unless of course you have something like fungal growth, which, to be fair, we will see the fungal growth. I'm sure there was a infestation pit down before. Perhaps I'm going absolutely crazy, but I'm 90% sure. We do have these muta action here, and it's very hard to tell which side is coming off best here, but it does appear to be Symbol right now, and, well, that is not good times. The transfuse going off, but this is definitely looking to be going in Symbol's favour, and he is pulling ahead in terms of the supply count. In terms of the worker count, well, it's 60 to 77. Symbol getting so far ahead right now. And obviously behind this, does he have his own infestation pit? The answer is no, and I'm sure, unless I missed it getting picked off, I am sure Nerchio had already built that infestation pit, but never mind, the new one is up now. He could really do those with infestors, especially with pathogen glands. Now we do have some Zergling fights going on here. We've got Zergling one by coming in from the other direction. Symbol winning that Zergling fight very effectively. A couple of Banelings there will get some good engagements and good hits off, but these mutas are going to be the big threat to Nerchio. He's having to basically defend his third and natural at the same time. The mutas now arcing over, and this could be a bit of a problem. Obviously with so many mutas, Symbol can do an awful lot of damage in terms of burst, picking off just a couple of mutalisks for 3. That is always nice, and if we look at the units resources lost, we see here that Nerchio is starting to fall very significantly behind. And that's where the problem really comes, because he's also behind in terms of the workers, so his income will be behind, as you can see here, specifically in the minerals. That means he can not afford to gauge cost ineffectively. Basically, he has got to engage well and basically kill more than he loses because he can't afford to keep going. A couple of Zerglings just running into the natural base. A double expansion coming out from Symbol behind this. And I think that's a good choice, because if you see here, Symbol is still, even after double expanding, got 1,000 minerals in the bank. So needs to thinking how he can spend them. And now here we go, a big engagement just head on. An Infestor is there, locks 2 infested Terrans, but no fungal growth goes off. And I think Symbol could very well take this. And there's the lull from Nerchio and the GG. So there we see that Symbol levels this series up 1 apiece, and that was some great play. That was a really intense game. So guys, before you flick over to my channel to find game 3, number 1, like this video, number 2, comment, number 3, subscribe, and number 4, go and find game 3, and I'll see you there in a second. I'm Maddles, and this was an SC2 England cast.